Shachiputram atra swarupam rupam tasyakraja muripurim maturim goishtuvartim Radha Kundam Kirivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Anatosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Itadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Nama Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhaddivyats Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahapremarasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Bhaktya Vihina Aparata Lakshe Jivdasya Kamaritoram Komati Kripa Maitvam Shanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Brinde Namaste Govinda Damo Dharam Madhaveti Govinda Damo Dharam Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Everyone Hey Hey Krishna Hey Yadava Hey Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Sham Sundar Shikanda Shikar Smaraha Smurali Manohara Radhikar Sakam Mama Kripa Nidhe Sapriya Charna King Kurim Kuru Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tvam Nayama Charantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadiya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtottarasata Sri Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, after my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, after my pranam to all the respected Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vancha Kalpatarasa, Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha, Utitanam Pavni Vaishnavibhyo. Our subject today is, what is love? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote one article in which he said, oh, piriti, as soon as a person hears this sound, piriti, preeti, love, then the heart becomes attracted. But really, what is it? In one song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhu Tavapada Yuge, there he wrote, Vishaye ye priti ebe achaye amara se mata priti hauk charane tumara. O Prabhu, O Sri Krishna, just as now, I have preeti, love, attachment to the objects of the senses. May I have, in a similar way, say mata priti hauk charne tuma, may I have such love and attachment to your lotus feet. So by this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expressing there's some similarity between the love, the attachment for the sense objects in this world and love for Krishna. There's some way in which they are similar, but there's also a way in which they are different as well. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was expressing the sentiment that was articulated by Prahlad Maharaj in the Vishnu Purana. There in the Vishnu Purana, Prahlad Maharaj has described preeti, love, by making a atidesh, that means a comparison with our worldly experience. So Prahlad Maharaj said, Ya preetir avivekanam vishay eshvanapayini tam anusmarata same hridayan napasarpatu. It's on the board right there. You can look at the verse. And so here, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Ya preetir, just as there is a preeti or love of avivekanam. Vivek means discrimination. And general people in this world, they don't have discrimination. The most basic discrimination is dehatma vivek. The ability to discriminate between the body and the soul. The ability to discriminate between matter and spirit. So in this world, generally, people have no power to discriminate. So they are aviveki. And due to that lack of discrimination, they think, I am this body and mind, and wander around in the world in a completely oblivious to their own spiritual nature and their eternal relationship with God. So here, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking about the aviveki. He says, Ya priti avivekanam vishaye shvanupayini. Just as the persons who lack discrimination have preeti, love for the vishay, objects of the senses. That can mean physical things and also other people. Because by our mature eyes, we cannot see any soul. So what we know of others is only the sense objects. What we can, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, what we can touch, taste, smell, hear, and so on, and see. So just as a person without discrimination has attachment in the sense objects, so tvam anusmarta same hridayan napasapatu, may a similar preeti for you be there in my heart as I am remembering you. That such preeti should not leave my heart as I continuously remember you. Tvam anusmarata same hridayan napasarpatu. So Srila Jiva Goswami Pad has taken this verse of the Prahlad Maharaj from the Vishnu Purana and used that as the basis to present the nature of preeti in Preeti Sandarbha. And we hear this word preeti every morning. Mangala Su Guru Gaura Mangala Marathi Mangala Si Radha Krishna Yugala Preeti. Oh, the auspicious Preeti of the divine couple. Rupa Raghunatha pode hoibe akute. Kabe hama heba bujabo se yugala preeti. When will my mind be completely purified of any inclination towards external sense objects? Then I may have the darshan of Vrindavan, and if I will be eager to follow in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, then I may comprehend what is this Yugala Preeti, love for Radha and Krishna. The love of Radha and Krishna for each other, and love for Radha and Krishna for the divine couple. So, coming to the verse of Prahlad Maharaj, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad is saying, Hridayanna pasarpatu, O Krishna, when I remember you, may preeti, love for you, never leave my heart. So the implication here is the love of the conditioned soul, the inclination of any person without vivek in this world. They did not learn it. No one had to go to college. Oh, I think that you're not enjoying your senses enough. You should go and study how to do it. No, any person, even who can't read and write, they are intuitively and naturally and spontaneously, just like the flow of a river from birth. They are attracted, they want to enjoy the objects of the senses, and they cannot give it up under any circumstances. Even if they'll die, then they take birth again, and as soon as they can, they're conscious again and again. That attraction is there. So this is the connection here, that without the kripa of a great Vaishnava, then the aviveki, the non-discriminating person, any conditioned soul, they have this spontaneous attraction to the objects of the senses, and they never give it up. They always try to enjoy, either grossly or subtly in some way. They cannot stop. So Prahlad Maharaj, he's thinking, oh, that's the type of affection I want for you, Krishna. This spontaneous, like a flow of a river that never gets interrupted under any circumstances, which is intuitive. It does not require training, and it does not even include any type of intellectual calculation. I have to love Krishna because of he's got 4 qualities that Lord Narayan doesn't have. Something like this. No reason, no Shastra Yukti, no calculation. Just it's happening. Something that is happening spontaneously and causelessly. So this is the way of the Atidesh. The similarity between the mature attachment, its spontaneity and its unbrokenness. But there are also ways in which the material love and the transcendental love are really, really antithetical. Not only different, but antithetical. How is that? First of all, the spiritual love is the vilas of Swarup Shakti, the Antaranga Shakti. This love is the play of Krishna's internal transcendental potency. Whereas attachment that a person experiences in this world, this is the manifestation of the Bahiranga Shakti, not Antaranga, internal potency. It's the manifestation of the Bahiranga Shakti, external potency, Daiviyasha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratteya. It is coming from 3 gunas. And so, because the gunas are always in a state of flux, they're always fluctuating, competing with each other. There's no shelter there. It is always moving. And therefore, whatever love or attachment is in this world is never fixed, it's never steady. What something or some person that you love today, then tomorrow you don't love them. That's the nature of material love. It is impermanent because it comes from the gunas. So we can say also that these two, they are antithetical, they're incompatible. They cannot mix with each other because they are like light and darkness. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Aya Andaka Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhika. So Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaksadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. If someone has the Prem, love in their heart, then they always see Shama Sundar. And Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. Wherever the sun is present, then darkness cannot be there. It must be dispelled. So naturally, when bhakti is appearing in the heart, then the darkness of material existence is expelled. So another way in which they are different is that the priti, the love of this world, is egocentric. It is all about my happiness. But the transcendental love completely discards self-interest. There's absolute disregard for self-interest. It is completely Krishna-centric. That is the nature of transcendental priti. In this world, because it's egocentric, then each person, according to their sanskars and their taste, for a few moments only in their life, they like this thing and that thing, then they change. And everyone likes different things. But the transcendental priti, transcendental love, being a manifestation of Krishna's own internal potency, everyone in the spiritual world, all their love is focused on Krishna. He's the center of everything. And so there is the divine harmony. Everything is harmonized in the transcendental plane. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 6, Sri Krishna said, Icha dvesha sukham dukam sangatas chetana dhriti etat chatram samasena savikaram udaritam. So that means icha, desire. Krishna is describing here etat chetram, the field. Because there are two things. Ketragya, the soul, who is the knower of the field. Just as a person can stand in the middle of a field and look around. So Krishna is describing who is the knower of the field, that is the soul. And what is the field? What is the external? What is the environment of that soul? That is the ketra, the field. And it is witnessed by the sakshi, by the witness, the ketragya, the knower of the field. So Krishna is describing the field. And he said this field is not only the things out there, but the things that we feel are also internal. The things we have going on our mind. We think that this is internal and the world is external. But no, the mind is external to the soul. And so, icha, all of our desires in this world, part of the field. Dvesha, our envy or hostility to other things, aversions, part of the field. Sukham, happiness, not you, part of the field, external, irrelevant, no relation to the soul. Sukham, dhukam, also suffering, distress. Sangatas, sangatas means the aggregate, that is the elements, earth, water, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, and chitta, all come together and they make up the body. So the sangat, the aggregate of the elements in the form of one's own body, also external to the soul. Chaitana, chaitana means the consciousness in the chitta. Now, consciousness is not the symptom of the material elements. Consciousness is a quality of the soul. It is called the Gyan Vritti. The soul is made of Gyan, that means consciousness, it is Chit. And it is self-aware, and its consciousness also extends from it. Just as a flame of a lamp is light, and light also emanates from it. So from the soul, some Jnana Vritti, the function of knowledge, emanates from the soul and illuminates the Chitta, which is the finest, the first covering of the soul and the finest foundational substance, the finest fabric, the finest vastu of the subtle body. That is the Chitta. So when the soul's pure consciousness is reflected in the Chitta, the consciousness, that illumination in the Chitta is called Chaitana, but really it is called it is not Chit, it is Chidabhas. because the soul has pure chit. And when it's reflected into the contaminated chitta, then the consciousness in the chitta is called chid abhas. It is the reflection of the soul's gyan vritti. So that is also external. It's dependent, of course, on the presence of the soul, but also external. One state of consciousness is external. And then Sri Krishna says driti. So driti means convictions. Our convictions, determination, fortitude, our resolve. Because everyone in their life has made deep in the heart some sankalpa. This is what I want. And that's directing and informing all of their activities. So that driti, that determination. Sorry, that's the field too. It's all the field. So etat chetram samasena, all of these taken together are the field. Sa vikarm udaritam, and the activities and interactions of the field. So priti, transcendental priti, is not any of those things or related. It has no sambandha with any of those things. So when one hears this from the lips of Sri Guru, then, or pure Vaishnavas, then we develop vivek, discrimination. So now, what does the word priti mean? The synonyms of the word priti are of two types. One aspect of the word priti refers to happiness. So sukham, happiness. Sukham, priti means sukham, happiness. Priti means mut. Mut means pleasure. Priti means pramod. Pramod, that means delight. Priti means harsha. Harsha means jubilation. And ananda. Priti means ananda, bliss or euphoria. So all of these are the dictionary synonyms of the word priti. But priti has another implication. Priti means priyata. Priyata. So priyata, the synonyms of priyata are bhav. Bhav, that means a devotional feeling. The feeling of love. Priyata. And the harda. Harda, it comes from the word rid, the heart, hriday, the heart. So harda means kindness or affection. And saurid. Priyata means saurid. We can say friendship and fondness and goodwill towards a person. That is called saurida. So there's a relationship between these two things, these two aspects of the word priti. One aspect is essentially all the different synonyms for sukha, happiness, and the other is priyata, the feeling that someone is dear and one wants to love them, serve them, please them, and so on. So, what is the relationship between happiness and love? So, Jiva Goswami Pad, he said, Ullas atmako jnana vishesha sukham. Sukham, happiness, is what? It is a gyan vishesh. Gyan means knowledge or consciousness, and vishesh means particular. So happiness is a particular state of consciousness. It's a gyan vishesh. It's a particular state of awareness. Gyan vishesh. That is sukh. And what type? Ulasatmako. Ulasatmaka. It is, the word atmaka means based on. It is based on, or it's of the essence of the ullas. Now the word ullas means to expand, to become illuminated, to kind of overflow the boundaries. And so the reason for this is that just as our body has a particular size and dimensions, so the subtle body also, the chitta, it has some very minute atomic form. And it also exists in Akash. So, Bhutanam Chidradhatritvam Bhai Antram Evacha Pranendriyatmadisnyatvam Nabaso Vritti Lakshanam, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There, one by one, see Kapil Dev, he gives the definition of all the elements. And he describes that Akash, or space, is that Chidradhatitvam. It gives room, accommodation room for things. Right? If there were no space, then what would happen? We'd all be crushed together and the singularity, like the universe is collapsing. So no, we have space between things, and that space accommodates the movements of everything. But in the Bhagavatam, Sri Kapil Dev, he's saying that it is Bhai Antaram Evacha. Akash, or space, gives accommodation room not only for the external activities of the elements, Bhutanam Chidradhatitvam, but also Pranendriyatmadisyatvam. It becomes the foundation for the movements of the pran, the senses, and here the word Atma means manas, the mind, the subtle body. So our subtle body can also expand and contract. So when the subtle body expands, that is ulas. And when it contracts, so this is essentially what happiness and distress are. You know, if you're under pressure and you're nervous and you're in anxiety and something is happening, then you feel kind of claustrophobic, right? You don't have space to think. You don't have space to breathe. Why? It's because the chitta has contracted. And so the contraction of the chitta is called a dukkha, suffering, anxiety, distress. And when something happens that gives you happiness, then you feel, that you have room, you have space to move and ease. So the very words in Sanskrit, sukha and dukkha, the word ka is a synonym for akash, space. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Shabda ke paurasham rishu. I am the sound in the ether, and I am the ability in man. So Shabda ke is in the locative case. It means in the ka, in the ether. So ka means ether or space. Shabda ke, in the space. So here the word su, the suffix su means beautiful. And so sukha means beautiful space. Or in other words, your chitta is expanding. So sukha, the actual word for happiness in Sanskrit, tells you metaphysically what the elements are actually doing in your subtle body. You see? Sukha, beautiful akash. You have spread out in the akash. You have room to move mentally. And dukkha means the contraction of the chitta in the akash. You see? So Sanskrit language is wonderful and informative, because happiness and distress, no one can even decide. Everyone can debate all day what is happiness or distress or something. Someone will say, it's about the dopamine receptors. In the reward system of the brain. And yeah. No. So, but in our Vedic literature, all the vocabulary is extremely scientific, and it explains to us exactly what is happening, happiness and distress. It's very good to understand this, so you don't become bewildered, mystified, hypnotized, infatuated with the fluctuations, ups and downs, any mood swings. We have to be completely detached from that if we want to attain nishta, steadiness, ekagrata, one-pointedness. Sthir buddhi, steady consciousness, which is absolutely essential just to enter into the experience of real bhakti. So Krishna says many times in Bhagavad Gita that Mata spashasta kuntya shitoshna sukha dukkha agamape nityas tamsitikshashva bharata. The non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress is like the coming and going of the winter and summer seasons. It's all external. And so if a person wants amrita, they want to become immortal, they have to become dhira, sober, and tolerate happiness and distress, not be concerned with these things at all. But conversely, the ordinary person, their whole life is driven. I have to experience this happiness thing that everyone's talking about, but no one can define. So the spiritual life and material life is completely different. Completely different value system. Our value system is only how can I give happiness to Gurudev, the representative of Krishna. Ultimately, how can I give happiness to Sri Krishna? So, what is Sukh? Sukh is the Ulas Atmako Jnana Vishesh. Jnana Vishesh, it is a special, it is a particular state of awareness which is Ulas Atmako, that is, which is characterized or based on the expansion of the chitta. Okay, that's the meaning of Sukh. One meaning of Priti. Now, one thing that we can note here is that in happiness, it is based on one's own ulas atmako, jnana vishesh, one's own expansion of the chitta. The thing that is giving you happiness is not even considered in this definition of happiness. So if a person says, I love chocolate, then they eat the chocolate, my chitta is expanding. I heard all about this from Prem Prayojan and it's happening right now. I can feel my chitta expanding as I crunch on the hazelnuts in this chocolate. So, but at that time, the person never thinks, is the chocolate happy or not? Right? There's no thought of anything else. It's all completely self-centered on one's own ulas. It's based on that. So that's one of the characteristics of a sukh. However, the meaning of priti includes sukh. But that means that the meaning of priti meaning priyata or bhav, harda, so hard, affection, love, friendliness, the empathy. So that includes the ulas, but it's not based on your ulas. You'll have ulas. Don't worry about that. That will come. But that's not the basis of it. What is the basis? So now Jiva Goswami Padi is giving the precise definition of priyata. It's so beautiful. He said, Vishaya anukul atmakas, tad anukulya anugata, tats priya tad anubhav, hetuk ulas my jnana vishesh, priyata. So what does it mean? He's saying, Vishaya anukul atmaka. Atmaka, what is the essence of it? The basis of it. The basis of this is Vishay Anukulya. What is favorable for the Vishay, the object? The object of the love. That is Krishna. So Vishay Anukul Atmaka. And because the heart is shining with this basic feeling of Jai Sri Krishna. May Krishna be happy. May Krishna be successful. May Krishna be prosperous. The heart is shining with that feeling. So Vishayanukulatmakas tad anukulya anugata. Tat spriha. In the wake. Anukul anugata. That means following the wake of that favorable feeling. That disposition towards the welfare of Krishna. There is tat spriha. That means a desire. One becomes filled with yearning. A yearning. I want to attain Krishna, but not for my enjoyment. I want to attain Him to give Him happiness, for seva, for service. Now what happens is, as soon as this spriha, this abhilas, is there in the heart, whether or not Krishna is present, He becomes present. So, tat spriya, tad anubhav. Tad anubhav means realization. So there's a realization of Krishna. If Krishna is present, then by the favorable mood and the aspiration, the desire to serve Him and please Him, one will realize Him. Just like, Kamsa Maharaj, he also saw Krishna. But he didn't really see Krishna. He didn't realize Him at all. Mrityu bhojapate. It is said that when Kamsa saw Krishna, he thought he was like death personified. So he didn't really realize Krishna. You cannot realize Krishna without priti. So when there's the feeling of favorableness, that Krishna should prosper and be joyful, then in the wake of that, there's the desire. And in the wake of the desire, there's anubhav. You can realize Krishna if he comes before you. And if he doesn't come before you, but still there's realization. And that's this purti that comes in separation. Realization of Krishna in separation. So, tad anubhav, hetuk ulas, my vishesh gyan priyata. So, priyata is also gyan vishesh. Priyata priti is a state of consciousness. And it is also ullasmai. It is made of this state of conscious ullas, the expansion of the chitta. The expansion of the heart is going on. So it is ullasmai jnana vishesh also. But it is not the ullasatmaka. It's not based on your own ullas, but rather it is tad anubhav hetuk ullas. The word hetuk means caused. So tad anubhav hetukulas, the cause of the expansion of the heart, which is giving this special state of consciousness, which is characterized by joy, is the realization of Krishna. Yes, the realization of Krishna. So I just want to summarize that, because Jiva Goswami Pad is giving a long sentence here. Vishaya anukulatmakas tad anukul anugata tat spriha tat anubhav hetukulas my jnana vishesh priyata. It's a long sentence. So it will make more sense if we start at the other end of the sentence and go backwards. So let's start at the end. What is priyata? It is the jnana vishesh. It's a special state of consciousness. What kind of jnana vishesh? Ullasamai jnana vishesh. It's composed of just the expansion of the heart, the overflowing of the harsh jubilation, joy. So the happiness is included in this. But what's the cause of that joy? The cause of that joy is, it is a tad anubhav hetukulas. It's caused by the realization of Krishna. But what was the realization of Krishna caused by? Tad anukul anugata tat spriha, the desire to be with him and to serve him. And where did this desire come from? It is the anukulya anugata. It's following in the wake of the vishay anukul atmaka. The feeling that Krishna should be the auspicious, he should be successful, everything in his life should be, all his desires should be fulfilled. That is the vishay anukul atmaka. So these are the stages. Just one more time so it's very clear to everyone. Priyata. This love is a state of consciousness. The state of consciousness is ullasamai, expanding joy. The cause of the ullasmai, it is tad anubhav hetuka. It's coming from the realization of Krishna. His Venu Madhuri, his Leela Madhuri, his Prema Madhuri, his Rupa Madhuri, all the sweetnesses of Krishna are manifesting in the heart, causing this ullas. But why are they manifesting? Because that devotee has a desire to serve him. Krishna never reveals himself to a person who does not have the pure bhakti. So that desire to serve him and that desire to be with him and serve him is following in the Visha Anukul Atmaka. The whole thing is all based on the positive, the feeling of goodwill towards Krishna, that he should prosper and all his desires shall be fulfilled. So that is called priti. Priti. So this is fascinating. Just to recap, sukh only has yourself as the subject. But priti, and their joy is only concerned with you, the subject. But priti, transcendental love, it has an object, the vishay, that is Krishna, and the joy comes from the realization of Krishna. Now, especially something is wonderful here, that the opposite of happiness is distress. But the opposite of love is not distress. Right? The opposite of love is a hatred. So, if a person is just feeling happiness or distress, the thing which is giving them happiness or distress is not experiencing that. But if someone has love, then the person who is the object of love experiences it. And hatred. If you hate someone, then they also feel uncomfortable. Right? So, the speciality of this love is that it's felt by both persons. In other words, the entire ulas, the entire joy of the devotee is completely based on the joy of Krishna. When Krishna is joyful, then the devotee automatically feels joyful. So there's the saying, Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. When Krishna is satisfied, the whole universe becomes satisfied. So devotees don't have to do anything to seek happiness at all. If a person will only try to please Krishna, if Krishna is pleased, if Guru is pleased, then the happiness is natural, it's automatic. Just like if there's a feast, not so much here, but especially in Braj, if there's a feast, then sometimes fresh makan is served. So if one devotee is serving fresh makan to everyone, giving them a lump of fresh makan onto their plate, makan and mishri. Very simple village food of Braj. So if a person is serving makan butter, then they give the butter to everyone. They don't have to make any type of extraneous endeavor to make their hand become greasy. If you're serving the butter, your hand will be greasy. There's no doubt about it. So in the same way, Preeti is like that. If a person has Preeti, they always try to please Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, then the devotee feels the greatest joy without making any extra effort. There's no need for that. And even bhakti is such a thing that it doesn't depend on the result or the success of the activity. Even just the desire to please Krishna produces the anubhav. Let's say a devotee wants to do some service for Krishna, but somehow it fails. But just the desire to do that was shining in his heart is already Krishna's internal pleasure potency, giving pleasure to the devotee and to Krishna. So bhakti cannot fail. Bhakti is always successful. So, there are some other interesting things about this verb, the prinati, he loves. There are two types of verb, transitive and intransitive. Transitive verbs means you have a subject and the verb and then the object. But intransitive verbs, they have a subject and there's action, but there's no object. In a transitive verb, the result of the action is accrued by the transformation or the generation of the object. But in an intransitive verb, akarmaka, sakarmaka means transitive and akarmaka means intransitive. In an intransitive verb, then the action and the result stays with the performer. So, let us say, if someone says, the chef cooks the food. So the chef is doing the action, he's cooking, and what is he doing? He's cooking the food. So whatever, the vegetables were hard, and he cooked them, and now they became soft. They were transformed. And so the result of the action lies with the object. But if you say, Krishna hasati, Krishna laughs, then that is also a verb, but where's the object? Because to laugh is an intransitive verb. The person laughs and it has no object. The result stays with the person. So it seems if you will say also let's say the verb to shine. Dipti means to shine. So you say the light shines. Just say the lamp shines. The lamp is shining. You don't have to say an object. But if you say an object, if you want to imply where it's shining, then you say the lamp shines in the room. Right? You don't use the accusative for the room. You use adhikaran. That is called saptami vibhakti in Sanskrit. That is the locative case. The lamp shines in the room. So, in the same way, when you use the word, the verb to love, then you say, Bhaktaha Krishne Prinati. We will think, because in English we say, I love you. So you have the subject, the verb, and the object. But the Prinati, the verb, he loves, in Sanskrit is akarmaka. It is an intransitive verb. It's an intransitive verb. So the accusative case, the object, karma. Karma means the object, or the accusative case. The word karma, you know karma? It means when you do something to get something else. So the word for the accusative case, for a word in the accusative case in Sanskrit is called karma, the accusative. So karma. If you say, I build the house, then like this you have a subject and a verb and an object. But if you say the devotee loves Krishna, then Krishna is not in the accusative. He's not in the objective case. You have to say Bhaktaha Krishne Prinati. The devotee loves Krishna. It's literally the devotee loves in Krishna. So this is the grammar itself has a very profound meaning. And the meaning is this, because the locative case is adhikaran. It means the basis of something, where it's located. Love is not a power that is with us. Right? It's not something where you are the doer. Yes, I'm going to love. Today I'll do some loving. No, that's the material world. This transcendental love is not like that. It's an intransitive verb, and the object of love, that means Krishna, is in adhikaran. That means he is the basis of this, because that love is not with us, it is with him. He is the Ladini Samvidi Samvit Tvayeka Savasangsraye. Krishna is the shelter of Ladini, Samvit, and Sandhini. Krishna is the shelter of the internal potency, and it's a gift. It's not something that you can do. It's a gift from Krishna, and it manifests in the heart. It's a state of consciousness. And this is why there are many things. We could go into the grammar of this for a few hours, but no one will come tomorrow, so I won't do that. If you watch now, we've just uploaded on the YouTube channel Chaitanya Academy a course, about 45-part course on Mana Shiksha. If you want to go really deeply into it, you can see in that course there. So this priti is not something which is with us. It's not something that we can do. It's a state of it's a jnana vishesh, and it comes from the internal potency. It comes from Sri Krishna, and its object is always Sri Krishna, and it's a gift to us that we can experience as a jnana vishesh, a state of consciousness. So therefore, Jiva Goswami Pad says, Tad bin abhava darshanat. Just like consciousness, it is the tad bina abhav. There is no absence of it. In other words, when this priti, it comes to us as a gift, Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamu payanti ete. Tesham satatayukt. They're always engaged. Why? Because when priti comes, there's no absence of priti. The priti, just like now, we're a soul, so there can be no absence of consciousness. We're always in one state of consciousness or another. Either you're waking, you're in dream, or in deep sleep. Deep sleep is not that you're unconscious. It's just you're conscious of nothing. There's no alamban. There's no object to be aware of. So consciousness is a permanent thing. So there is a tadbina abhav darshanat. It is seen that just as consciousness is never absent, so in the same way, when this gift of priti comes to us, Anarpita charim chirat karunayavartinaha kalo samarpayatum unnata ujjvala rasam sarvakti sriyam. When Mahaprabhu gives this gift of Yugala Priti to the soul, then it is Tadbina Bhav Darshanat. It is never absent. It cannot not be there. And Ato Brahma Jnanavad Bhuta Rupo Yam. And just like Brahma Jnana, let's say a person is an impersonalist and they meditate and they become Niranjan, free from the three gunas, and they experience the light of Brahman. So they did not produce that light of Brahman. The light of Brahman eternally exists, and they are now identifying with that, and they're in that state. Brahma bhuta prasanatva nasochati nakangshati. So similarly, this priti is the Brahma Jnanavat. It's like Brahma Jnana in the way that Brahma Jnana already exists. It's an eternal state that you identify with. So in the same way, Priti, this love, is an eternal state. It exists before we have it. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam riddhi sadhyata. It manifests in the heart and never leaves, and it's shining. But instead of being a shining light of emptiness, it's shining with the beauty of Vrindavan and the pastimes of Radha Krishna. Brahma Shabde Kohi Purna Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Shastra Pramam. The real meaning of Brahma is the son of Nanda Maharaj in Braja. So, and therefore, Vidhi Sapeksha iti siddham. This priti, this love, it is not dependent on any injunction. Like in Vaidhi Bhakti, we've got these rules and regulations. If you do the rule right, then you'll progress. If you don't do the rule right, you make an offense and you become overwhelmed by the three gunas. That's what happens. It's Vaidhi Bhakti. But once this priti is illuminated the heart with the spontaneous, natural flowing love to see Krishna, then what is vidhi and nishedh? Rules and regulations. These are not relevant, necessary, or have any effect whatsoever. But a great Vaishnava Acharya who is in this world and is the object of the reverence and the respect of the people of the world, outwardly they will follow the rules and regulations of bhakti to inspire others to gradually, because without following the path of Archan, in the beginning, no one can give up this Purusha Abhiman, the desire to lord it over the material energy. There's no other option. We have to go through the Archan phase, the Vidhi and Nishedh phase, until the anarthas are removed sufficiently that the Ruchi takes over and all of our activities are inspired by taste. So, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Kapil Dev, he says, Sattva evaika manaso briti swabhaviki tuya. This pure priti is evaika manaso briti. It is a vritti. It's a function of the mind. Swabhaviki and natural. So don't think that it's produced by the mind, but rather, as Rupa Goswami Pad explains in Bhaktarasamrita Sindhu, avir bhuya mano brito brajanti tatsurupatam swayam prakasha rupapi basamana prakasyabat. Our mind has threads, sutras, fine threads of pran, and they're all moving. And this movement of these threads of pran, which are interwoven throughout the chitta, which is the basic fabric of our subtle psychological body, all that movement, that constitutes our thoughts and feelings, ideas and memories and perceptions, everything. So the manobriti or chitta briti, that's the movements of pran in the chitta, they comprise all of our experiences. So Rupa Goswami Pad is saying, avir bhuyan manobrito, this bhakti or bhav, just as Lord Ram or any avatar, he does avirbhav. From the divine realm, he manifests in this dimension. So in the same way, the vritti of Swarup Shakti, the function of Krishna's internal potency, that is priti, love, manifests in this world. Where? In your manobriti, in your chitta briti. So it takes over the mind. Before, all the thoughts and feelings were part of the field and coming from Trigun, the three gunas. But now the divine internal potency has appropriated, commandeered, it is hijacked all the movements of your prana. So avir bhuya mano britto, this transcendental energy enters into, it makes avirbhav within the mental functions and makes the mind one with itself. Prajanti tat surupatam. So Swayam Prakasha Rupapi, even though the experience of Krishna is self-manifest, it appears as if Bhasamana Prakashabat. This is a technical, metaphysical explanation. If you study the sutras of Patanjali, he says that when a person is meditating on some object, then when the mind is very, very steady and he thinks of that object, then the object appears in his mind and his own consciousness is illuminating. So when the object manifests in the mind, in meditation, it's still in the material mind, but which is highly sattvic. In the highly sattvic material mind, when you think of something, then it appears, that is called Bhasamana. That means it's shining. As it is Bhasamana, while it is shining in the consciousness, Prakashavat, and it is illuminated, Sri Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, it is illuminated by the Gyan Vritti of your own soul, Prakasya. Okay. But here he's saying, no, Swayam Prakasha Rupapi. Krishna, his name, form, qualities and pastimes can't be illuminated by your soul. We have no power to do that. We are not the drashta, the seers. We are drishya, we are seen by Krishna. So this self-manifesting potency, samvit, enters into our chitta-vritti, and Krishna is manifesting and illuminating himself by his causeless mercy. It's not within our power to see Krishna, only when Krishna looks at us. Shubha dristi karo prabhu jagatera prati jagu karidoye mora sumangala rati. So when we come before Thakurji in the morning and we pray following our Param Gurudev, oh Krishna, please glance upon the world, glance upon me with your merciful glance, and this Swarup Shakti comes out from the eyes of Krishna and then awakens Rati, and then the heart of the devotee becomes illuminated and he can experience Krishna by Krishna's mercy, not by one's own power. Yeah. So, this is the nature of Preeti. So far, we have discussed the definitions of Preeti, the definitions of love, why it's an akarmaka, it's an intransitive verb, because we cannot do it, and Krishna is not the object, he's the basis of it. How it's a state of consciousness, how it produces joy. But how does that manifest in actual, real life? We can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a description of how when Gauranga Mahaprabhu was staying in Jagannath Puri, at that time, all the devotees in Bengal, in Gaudadesh, Navadvip, Srikanda, and other places, they felt so much separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But every year, when the Chaturmasya was approaching, and Rathayatra was approaching, then the devotees, they used to set out on foot, the Parikrama party led by Shivananda Sen. And he would arrange for everyone where they will stay. He would arrange for the payment of the tolls, manage the prasadam. So the Parikrama organizer was Shivananda Sen, and all the associates of Mahaprabhu from Navadvip, they used to go on foot, walking all the way to Puri. So they would arrive in Puri. So one time they arrived in Puri and Mahaprabhu saw, oh, Advaita Acharya has come, and Vasudev Datta and Marari Gupta, Gangadas Pandit, his school teacher from when he was a boy at school. How joyful. And Buddhimanta Khan, Shuklamba Brahmachari, Nishingananda Brahmachari, all of them, they were arriving in a big group. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw among that group Advaita Acharya, and he saw Nityananda Prabhu was there. Though that was a surprise. Why? Because on the previous year, Gauranga Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu, I want you to go to Gaudadesh. And you should travel all there with Sankirtan and spread the chanting of the holy names everywhere. So don't come back to Puri next year. Mahaprabhu specifically ordered Nityananda Prabhu, do not come to Puri next year. You have to go preaching in Gaudadesh. So, Nityananda Prabhu, anyway, he came. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Padi said, Agya palane Krishna yaichi paritosh premi agya bangile hoy koti sukaposh. If a person will follow the instructions of Krishna, agya palane, that means to observe the order of Krishna, then Krishna will be happy, he'll be satisfied. But premi agya bangile hoy koti sukaposh, if someone will break the order of Krishna, go against the order of Krishna out of love, not out of laziness or selfishness. But if out of love someone will break the order of Krishna, then hoi koti sukaposh, that gives Krishna 10 million times more happiness than doing what he told you to do. So Nityananda Prabhu is the example. He has so much love for Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He went preaching, he was doing the mission, but he could not resist. Out of attachment for Mahaprabhu, he came there, even against Mahaprabhu's order. And even though Mahaprabhu told him, don't come, when Mahaprabhu saw him, he was 10 million times more happy than if Nityananda Prabhu had not come. Why? Because the order was transgressed out of preeti, out of love and affection. So beautiful. So there are many examples in this. You can see in the Rasa Leela, when Krishna played his flute, he called all the gopis and they dropped everything in the middle of the night, and in a madness of love they came running there. But when they arrived, then Krishna said, Swagatam vo mahabhaga priyam kim karavamiva. Oh, you are most fortunate ladies. Welcome to the forest of Vrindavan. Tell me, is there any problem in the village? Is that why you came to the forest? And he told them, Pratiyata brajam nehastayam sribi sumadhyama. Don't stay here in the forest. Go back to the village. Pratiyata. Go back to brajam. Go back to the village. Nehastayam. Don't stay here. But really his inner mood was Pratiyata brajam na. Don't go back to the village. Ihastayam. Stay here. He spoke with a double meaning. But anishta sankini bandhu hridayani bhavantihi. It's the nature of love, that when there's love, then a person is always in anxiety that something anishta, something undesirable will happen. So even though it had the double meaning, the gopis took the negative meaning and thought Krishna was sending them home. So that's also the nature of preeti, the nature of love. Anishta sankini bandhu hridayani bhavanti. Where there is love, one is always worried, oh, it's too good to be true. Something terrible will happen. This is the nature of preeti. So Krishna told them, you should go back to the village. But the gopis, they cut all the arguments of Krishna. Maivam vibhoti bhavan garitam rishangsam sanchadya sarva vishayantava padamulam bhaktya bhajasya duravagram achajaspam devo yatari purusho bhajate mamukshun. Oh, it's not right for you to speak such heartbreaking words, Krishna. We left all Vishay just to serve your lotus feet. They're saying, Sancharya Sarva Vishayam, meaning we did not come here to enjoy ourselves. We came only to give joy to you. So this is preeti. And they cut all the arguments of Krishna, and then Krishna accepted them. So we see this is the nature of love. Agya palane Krishna yaichi paritosh. As Krishna is pleased by following his order. Premi agya bangale. Hai koti sukaposh. If someone breaks his order out of love, then Krishna gets 10 million times more happiness. Just like our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. when he was a young brahmachari, the news came to the mutt, Chaitanya Mutt, that, oh, your mother is about to pass away. And so she's calling you. You should go and she wants to see you one more time before she dies. So then Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told him, oh, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, you have to go and see your mother one more time before she dies. He gave pranams. Yes, Gurudev, I'm just going. And he went out and he went around the corner. He came back and he hid in a room in the mutt. And he hid there for a few days. So then, after some time, Prabhupada, he said, oh, where is Vinod Brahmachari? And he came to know that our Param Gurudev, he never went to see his mother. He just hid. He disobeyed Prabhupada. And so then he came in front of Prabhupada. He said, I told you to go and see your mother one time before she dies. And Vinod Brahmachari said, oh, Prabhupada, Sakale janama sabe pitama tapai Guru Krishna nahi mili bajai. In every life, a person gets a mother and father. So we've had thousands and thousands of mother and fathers. But it is very, very rare that one gets the shelter of Krishna and the association of Guru and the chance to do bhajan. If I had gone to my mother on her deathbed, she would have said, oh, Vinod, I want you to take over responsibility for our estate, for our land holdings. And in Vedic culture, then the last request of a dying person is binding. She said, Prabhupada, if I had gone there, then I would have been entangled in the material and I would have lost all my good fortune. That is the service of your lotus feet. So I didn't go. And then Srila Prabhupada, tears came in his eyes and he was overjoyed. We may say he was 10 million times more happy than if Vinod Brahmachari actually followed his order. So where there is love, it is the nature of Priti. The Priti itself gives happiness. It is the joyful potency of the Supreme Lord Himself, which is a gift and it shines eternally in the hearts of those who have attained that. So this is the nature of Priti. Can give another example. You know that when all the devotees were coming from Bengal to meet with Mahaprabhu, because they have Priti, they have love for him. So before arriving there, then there was a sister of Raghav Pandit. You know, Raghav Pandit's house is in Panihati. Yeah. So Damayanti was there and she used to make so many types of preparations. Now, most of the things that we cook only last for a few days and then they go rotten. But there's a way to make different sweets and the different types of cheese and cook them in a way that they're very long lasting. So Damayanti, she began to prepare many, literally hundreds of types of preparations of sweets and different types of cheese and herbs. And they were made in such a way that they would last for a whole year. And especially, she made a bitter preparation called sukata. And she would make this because she was thinking that he's staying there in Jagannath Puri and there is the rich Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath. And actually, he may have some problems with digestion. So I have to make this sukta, which is very bitter. And if he'll take it every day along with his meal, then Mahaprabhu will not have any digestion problems. So, why is that? Because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Manusya buddhi damayanti kare prabhu pai, Guru bojani udari kabu ami hayayai. It means that Damayanti had Manusya buddhi. She interacted with Gauranga Mahaprabhu as if he were a human being. The Supreme Lord, God, is not going to get indigestion. Right? He can't digest anything. But she's feeling like he has a delicate stomach. So I should make some very bitter things that he can take with his meal, and then he won't get indigestion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhavagrahi Mahaprabhu, Sneha Matraloy, Sukhata Pata Kashandite Mahasukapai. Govinda, the personal servant of Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira, he used to keep the big bag. This is called Raghavera Jali, the bag of Raghav Pandit, and in it were all the hundreds of small preparations made by Damayanti. And every day, when Govinda was bringing the Mahaprasad to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would take something out of that bag and give it. And every day, Mahaprabhu was tasting some of these dry preps from Damayanti, and he felt great joy. Why? Bhavagrahi Mahaprabhu Snehamatralai. Mahaprabhu is Bhavagrahi. He only accepts the feeling, the essence of love. Snehamatralai. He only accepts the sneha, the affection with which it was offered. So because she has pure love, she has that preeti for Mahaprabhu in her heart. She doesn't need any tattva gyan. That Mahaprabhu is Yadadvaitam Brahmopanishadi Tatapyasya Tanuba. What is described in the Upanishads as the effulgence of Brahman is just the Angsika Bas, the semblance of the light from his body, Ya Atmantaryami Purusha, the Paramatma in every soul, in every heart, and in every atom is the expansion of Gaurangama. She doesn't have to know these things. She just loves him naturally. That preeti is there. She's not touched by any video nishad. So Mahaprabhu, he attained great happiness from the offerings of the Damayanti. So in this regard, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he quotes a beautiful verse. Priyena sangratya vipakshasa nidhav upahitam vakshasi pivaristani strajamnaka chitva jahojala vilam vasanti hi premni gunana vastuni. The meaning is this, that there was one hero, but there were two heroines who were attracted to him. And both heroines, they were in rivalry with each other. So, if the hero will have a garland, but on the way when he was bringing it there, if he dropped it in the mud and it's kind of like a little bit bedraggled, then that will be embarrassing. If he gives that garland to one heroine, then in front of the other rival, then that heroine will be embarrassed because, oh, he gave me this garland, which is somewhat malin. It is defiled, it's a bit dirty, muddy, and it would be embarrassing. But here, the poet is saying, Vasanti premni guna navastuni. Even though the hero gave the soiled garland to that heroine in front of her rival, but she happily accepted it. Why? Vasanti hi premni guna navastuni. The quality of an offering, the glory of an offering does not lie in its qualities, its guna. The qualities of the vastu, the object which is offered. No, the glory of an offering lies in the preeti, the love with which it's offered. So this is always Krishna's consideration. Vasanti hi premni gunana vastuni. The quality of a substance does not lie in the substance itself, but the love with which it is offered. And so Krishna is like that. He's bhavagrahi. He only accepts the essence of everything. He's the Akila Rasamrita Murti Prasamara. He's the embodiment of all rasa. And the feeling with which anything is offered to him, Krishna accepts that and experiences joy because of the preeti of that devotee. So in this way, we have tried to just give the foundation, some basic shape of the idea of what is preeti. Now, I want to come to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The pastimes of Radha and Krishna are very difficult. No, they are impossible for a conditioned soul to understand. Therefore, it is essential to hear from pure Vaishnavas, Shabda Brahma, transcendental sound. This transcendental sound makes the prakash, illumination of the heart, of the actual vastu of the truth. A person whose consciousness is still attracted to Vishai, the sense objects, they are bound to misunderstand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna because it seems like the worldly amorous pastimes. But really, there is not even the slightest scent of the desire for self-enjoyment in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. It is only Yugala Priti, pure love. The essence of Radha Krishna Leela is this. Radhikara Prema Guru Amishishanat Sada Amanana Nritye Nacha Udbhat. Krishna said that I am like a dancing student. And my dancing teacher is the love of Srimati Radhika. For Krishna, everything he's doing is just another day at school under the control of Radhika's love. He's Radha Prem Adin, subjugated by Radhika's love. So we see that though Radha and Krishna are young, the Rasa Leela, Krishna is 8 years old at the time of Rasa Leela, so they're young. And they play together in the forest. But we see that in the adult life, mainly 3 things dominate. One is the romance, the attraction between male and female. The second one is politics. Everyone's talking about politics. And that means power and war and all of these things. And then the next thing that everyone obsesses with is finances. Right? Economics. So though Radha and Krishna, they're young, and just as children, they imitate the activities of the adult life. So when Krishna and the cowherd boys and Radhika and gopis, when they come together, they play. And what do children play? They imitate the adult life. Especially Sukadeva Goswami Pada said, Kadachit Shandolikaya Kahichin Ripachestaya. The meaning is that sometimes they would play on swings. This is the only reference in Srimad Bhagavatam giving the hint of Julan Leela, the swing pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And Kahichin Nripachestaya. And sometimes they would imitate the activities of kings. So here in Nripachestaya, the activities of kings, that means politics. So what are kings doing? Well, sometimes the first thing a king does is he gets coronated, right, to become the king. So what do Radha and Krishna do? The cowherd boys arrange a coronation for Krishna to become the Brajesh, the emperor of the forest of Braj, and they fan him with chamaras and perform his abhishek. And the gopis that takes place in Chatravan. Chata, now it's called Chata, but in the old days called Chatravan. Means the forest of the umbrella, because Krishna accepted the umbrella of the emperor. And then Radhika's ceremony of being coronated, Vrindavaneshwari, the queen of Vrindavan, takes place in Umrao. And all the Sakis, why are they holding the umbrella over Radhika and fanning her with chamar? These are the insignia of the kings and queens, of emperors and empresses. So they play together. Kaichin Ripacheshtaya. What is another activity of kings? Going to war. So we see the Holy Leela. Holy Leela is Holy Yuddha. It's a war of colors. And Krishna and his friends are in one army. And Radhika and her friends in another. And they meet together on the battlefield. And they have war. Another activity of the kings, Nripacheshtaya. Nripacheshtaya is one of the main activities of the king or the government. And that is taxing everyone. Right, taxing her. So Srila Vishnatiri Thakur, in his commentary on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, he said here Nripacheshtaya means all the pastimes when Krishna, he blocks Radhika and the gopis on the path and demands that they have to pay a tax. These are the activities of kings. And of course the human beings, in the general world, the adults are fully engaged in the economics, in trading and commerce. So Radha and Krishna have their Kray Vikray Leela, buying and selling pastimes, such as Krishna selling the pearls, Mukta Charitra, to the Braja Gopis. So, why are all these pastimes going on? Because love is such that it cannot be expressed directly, and therefore it is expressed indirectly. And instead of becoming in harmony with each other, they tease each other, they compete with each other. And in the midst of their dialogues, then their hearts, their prem is revealed. Because Krishna and Braj Gopis, they are rasik. So when they speak, they can speak about politics, they can speak about taxes, they can speak about the economics, but these are all poetic metaphors describing love. Yeah. So you may say, well, how can the subject of economics be about love? No, really it is. Absolutely. You know, one of the miracles of economics is called compound interest. It's the most amazing thing. Some people are working hard every day just trying to get paid. Others are sitting around just becoming millionaires and billionaires and multi-billionaires. Why? Because of their investments have compound interest. They're charging compound interest on their loans and everything. So actually that's illegal in the Vedas. In the Manu Samhita, there it is said that Chakra Vriddhi Vyaj. Vyaj means interest. Interest is legal in the Manu Samhita. If someone needs money for a business, you can loan them some money and you fix the rate. Okay, you give me 20% of the profit at the end of the year. This is okay, but there has to be a fixed time. The time should not go over 1 year. And if the person due to misfortune cannot pay the extra because of the risk of the investor, then it cannot compound. It cannot be interest on the interest and interest on the interest. So vyaj is allowed, interest, but not chakra vriddhi. Vriddhi means increasing like a wheel. So in the Vedic culture, chakra vriddhi vyaj is forbidden. So that is also there in Christianity, in usury. Yeah, in Dante's Inferno, it's described that those who do usury, they go down to I believe it's the 7th level of hell. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because if you have some cows, then you can breed them and the flock increases. Because living things increase. Living things are fertile and they increase. But if you have a gold coin, 2 gold coins, and you put them on the table, and you come back 9 months later, they'll just be 2 gold. Because the money is infertile. And so the Chakravarti Vyaj, that is compound interest, takes what is infertile and makes it fertile. And therefore it is the subversion of God's natural order. Yes. Understand? So interest, usury, compound interest, it is the subversion of God's natural order. And so there's a special level of hell you have to go to. You can read Dante's Inferno and find out all about that. So, but we see here that it is sinful because it's the inversion of God's natural order. Material things are infertile and they don't increase. But what about the transcendental things? Transcendental things. And therefore, the metaphor of the compound interest is perfect for Prem. Because Prem is a thing where there is always interest. It's always growing. It's always increasing. And there's always interest on the interest and interest on the interest. And so when Radha and Krishna are having a financial dispute with each other, these metaphors are perfect. And both of them, in their heart, they understand what they mean. This is why in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna said, Aisha buddhi matam buddhi manisha cha manishinam yat satyam anriteneha marten apnoti mamritam. Krishna is telling Uddhava about bhakti in the 11th canto. And Krishna said that this bhakti, Aisha buddhimatam buddhya, this is the intelligence of the most intelligent. Manisha cha manishinam, this is the cleverness of the most clever persons. Why? Because you take something which is asat, temporary, something that will die very soon. That is your own body, and your time. And you invest that in Krishna's service. And what do you get back? Eternal nectar. You swap something which is temporary and nashwara. It will just dilapidate. It will just dissolve. And you get an eternal young spiritual body that will live forever. You attain amrita, which is always increasing. So that's the best business. Isn't that the best business? That's a good deal. That's the best investment on the market today. Bhakti. Yes. This is why when Mahaprabhu met with Ramananda Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sampatir madhye jive kon sampati gani Radha Krishna premadya se badadani. Prabhupada's translation. Mahaprabhu said, of all the types of treasure, which treasure is considered to be the greatest? And Ramananda Rai said, that person who has love for Radha and Krishna is considered to be the greatest capitalist. Prabhupada's translation. So the greatest capitalist is that one who has love for Radha Krishna. Why is that? Shri Krishna has said, Yadyapi nimmal radha sat prema darpan. Yadyapi nimmal radha sat prema darpan. Tatapi swachata barikshanekshan. Tatapi swachata barikshanekshan. Even though the Sat Prem Darpan, the pure mirror of Radharani's heart, which is full of love, is the swachata. It is shining. It is pure. But still, the purity of the love in the heart of Radhika is increasing at every moment. So when Radhika remembers me and sees me in her heart, what happens? Man madhurya Radha prema tui hoda kari. Shanik shanik pari dohai keho nahi hari. Sri Krishna said that when Radhika sees my beauty in the shining mirror of her heart, because the shining of her love is increasing at every moment, so my sweetness is increasing at every moment in the heart of Radhika. So my sweetness is increasing, and Radhika's prem is increasing, and then my sweetness increases, and her prem increases, and my sweetness, and the two are in a competition like this. And keho nahi hari, none of them know defeat. My sweetness does not know defeat, and Radhika's love does not know defeat. See, Krishna has said. But actually, because our Gurudev is in Manjari Bhav, yes, Krishna can say this, but we don't agree. Radharani will always be victorious. Gurudev was even refuting the words of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But anyway, they're Krishna's words. So when Radhika sees Krishna, then she cannot believe. Yada yada pasasi madhavam puras tada tataivasya vadasya purvatam navahasada syatkimayam tava tava ragunmati vishmarata kimakshini. Radharani said, I have never seen anything so beautiful before in my life. And then Brinda Devi said to Radhika, oh Radhika, every time you see this boy, you say that you have never seen him before, or you have never seen him so beautiful before. So this question came in my heart. Nava sadasyatkim aham tava tava ragunmade vishvata kimakshni. What is the truth of the matter? Is Krishna actually newer and newer every moment? Or is it that because you become mad in love, that your prem has obliterated the memory of the last time that you saw him? So you can't remember how beautiful he was before. I don't know. Brinda Devi asked this question. So Rupa Goswami Pad said, Viborapi kalayan sada vibridhim guru api gauravacharya bihina muhu upachita vakrimapi shuddho jaiti muradvishi radhika anuraga. Oh, glories to the anurag of Radharani. Even though Radhika's love is all-pervading, it's everywhere and has no space to expand. Sada vibridhim. But it's still increasing and increasing. How is that possible? That is just as Krishna is Viruddha Dharma Ashraya, he is the shelter of contradictory characteristics. See, Krishna is Vibhuta, all-pervading, but also Parichinna. He is very small and his mother can tie him up with a rope. She can put bells around his waist. So all contradictory characteristics are there in Krishna. So in the same way, all contradictory characteristics are there in the love of Radhika. It is everywhere. There's nowhere else it can go. But it's still Vibharapikalam Sadabi Vridhim. It's increasing. So that's this Chakra Vridhi Vyaj. This the compound interest. In the conversations of Radha Krishna, this is the perfect argument. It is not about business. They are talking, and the dhwani, that means the implication, the suggestion of their words, is only about Prem. It's only about love. So, you know that if you are fortunate enough to take in your hands some book of the poems of our 6 Goswamis, like Dan Kelly Comedy, or Dan Kelly Chintamani, or Mukta Charitra, you pick it up and you open, and then it tells Radha Krishna came together, and then they start arguing. And then you turn over the page and the argument's just going on and on and on. And they're just arguing. And you get to the end of the book and nothing's happened really. Just like Radha and Krishna arguing the whole time. You think, what is that? You know, there's a famous scholar in India, S.K. Day. And he wrote, the poetry of Rupa Goswami is not so original. I remember when I was a student and I read he wrote a book that's very famous about history of Vaishnavism in West Bengal. It's a very famous book. When I read this and when I read what he wrote about Rupa Goswami, I just started to cry. Yeah. So, but why? Because he's not rasik. Our Goswamis, what they've revealed by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, what they revealed to the world is unprecedented, and it is the highest rasa. You know, camels, they chew thorns, and the thorns cut them, and they taste their own blood and think, these thorns are juicy. So that's the persons who are trying to enjoy the worldly literatures. They're actually bringing about their own suffering, but think they're enjoying. But only the Vaishnavas who are like cuckoos, they can taste the sweet mango buds in the spring season that blossom. They taste them and they sing with sweet voices. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Pad, he said, what I want to express in this Chaitanya Taramrita, it is so confidential that it should not be spoken. But if I don't express it, then it may be lost. So I will express it in such a way that those who are like camels chewing thorns, they will not understand. And the Vaishnavas, who are like cuckoo birds relishing the fresh mango buds, they will taste it again and again, unlimitedly. So all of the writings of our Goswamis on the pastimes of Radha Krishna, they are like that, very sweet. But unless a person has the tongue, the ability to taste it, if the tongue is inflicted with the jaundice of avidya, one cannot relish. But if the tongue, the jaundice of avidya has been cleansed away by the influence of the holy name, then the sweetness of these pastimes awakens in the heart. So, I want to address the final point today. I want to address the subject of why is it that in these so many great plays and poems that Radha Krishna come, they just start quarreling with each other and then they go home. And it seems like nothing is happening so much. Why is this so relishable for the pure Vaishnavas? In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishada, there it is said, Ekaki na ramate sadvitiyam aitschat. Brahma, the absolute truth. Ekaki na ramate. He cannot enjoy being alone. Therefore, sadvitiyam aitschat. He wanted another, a second person. And so, Radha and Krishna, they are the absolute truth. Ekatmanava pi bhuvi pura deha bedam gatoto. Radha Krishna are one soul, but they eternally have two bodies. Radha Krishna aichi sada ek hi swarup lila rasa ashwadite dare due rup. They have attained two forms eternally to relish lila rasa. So, we cannot compare the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna to anyone's romance in this world. Because Radhika is the Shakti of Krishna. He is Purush. She is Prakriti. He is the legitimate enjoyer of his own pleasure potency. But if two persons meet in this world, one person is not the Shakti of the other one. They are not related at all. Neither of them are the legitimate Purush. Both are Prakriti, and only Krishna is the Purush, the legitimate enjoyer of the activities of everyone. So there is no, on the metaphysical platform, there is no similarity at all between the romantic love in this world, which is only ignorance and lust, moha, bewilderment, and the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, who is one, who has two forms for the relishment of rasa. And so there is no lust at all in Krishna's pastimes. That is why Sridhar Swami, he has said that the Rasa Lila is a calm Vijay Lila. It is the pastimes of the victory over Cupid. So in his introduction to the Rasa Lila, Sridhar Swami said, Brahmadi Jaya Samruddha Darpa Kandarpa Darpaha Jayati Sripati Gopi Rasamandala Mandana. It means this, that Cupid, he became proud. He's Darpa. Darpa means pride. And Cupid is also, his name is Kandarpa. Because if you're on the spiritual path and you say, I am a great devotee, then Kandarpa, Cupid will come and break your pride. Kandarpa, he breaks the pride of those who think, yes, I am great. So his name is Kandarpa. And the word pride, the word Darpa means pride. So this is where the word Darpa comes from, mirror. A mirror is that makes you proud. You get the mirror and look, yes, I look very good. That's why it's called a Darpana. Because it gives you pride, Darpa. And then when you get old and you look and you see your wrinkles and everything, then Darpana. Then it takes away your pride. Oh, my hair's going grey. Oh no. So all the vocabulary in Sanskrit is so profound. So the Cupid is called Kandarpa. And so Cupid became Darpa, became proud. But Krishna is Darpaha, the one who takes away pride. So, because you know that once Cupid, he disturbed the mind of Brahma, and Brahma became attracted to his own daughter. You know that once Narad Muni also became bewildered. Lord Shiva became bewildered. There is no one who is impervious to the power of illusion. And because some of those, they are great devotees, Krishna has done that as a special pastime to teach us. But the Lord's Maya is inconceivable and unconquerable. So Cupid, he had conquered so many sages, like whom? He made Vishvamitra Rishi fall down. Very famous. So in this way, so many sages, they became victim of Cupid. And so therefore, Brahmadi Jaya Samruddha, because Cupid had defeated Brahma and so many others, so his pride went so high. But what happened? Darpa Kandarpa Darpaha. Krishna is Darpaha. He took away the Darpa of Kandarpa. So he is Darpa Kandarpa Darpaha, who took away the pride of Cupid. And how did he do that? Jayati Sri Pati Gopi Rasamandala Mandana. Because he danced in the midst of the gopis in the Rasalila. Actually, Cupid, he had gone everywhere and defeated so many sages and demigods, but he thought, I want to also defeat Krishna. So he came to Vrindavan and he took his arrows and said, Krishna, face me. And Krishna said, no, just don't start now. Wait until the full moon. Wait till the full moon day in the month in the Sharad season. Wait there, because at that time, I will call all the beautiful gopis of Vrindavan and they will all surround me, and that will be a better environment for your victory. You know? Because now, astrologically speaking, the stars are not on your side. You know, because sometimes, two people have a sport or a fight or a competition and one of them wins, but then the other one has an excuse. Well, on that day, I had a bad knee or something like that, They make some excuses later. So Krishna said, just so there are no excuses later, you should come at the best time when Bhagavan Apitara tree Shadat Fulla Malika, all the flowers in the forest of Vrindavan are all blossoming. There's a sweet fragrance in the breeze, and the full moon is shining, and millions of gopis all come there and surround me. That will be the ideal environment for your victory. So then Cupid, he agreed, and he waited. So he's waiting. Gradually then the day came, when the moon rose in the Sharad Ritu, Purnima. And then Cupid, he came, and Krishna was just getting ready to go for the Rasalila. And Cupid approached him, and when Kamdev saw Krishna, he just fainted. He was so beautiful, he fainted unconscious. So, Jayati Sripati Gopi Rasamandala Mandana. Krishna is the decoration. He is the ornament of the Rasamandal, where he dances in the middle. He's Sripati with Shrimati Radhika. And thereby, he removes the pride of Cupid. And therefore, there is not even the slightest smell of worldly lust in this Leela. But rather, this Rasa Leela is Nivritti Para. It is not for those who are on the path of enjoying or collecting the things of this world. Pravritti Marg. The Rasa Leela is not for those in Pravritti Marg. It's for those in Navritti Marg. Those who are leaving behind material existence completely and forever. This Rasa Leela is for them. So, Atmendriya Prativancha Taribalikam Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dare Prem Nam. The desire to please one's own senses is called lust, Kam. But the desire to please all the senses of Krishna, that is called Prem. So, Premaiva Goparamanam Kama Ityagamat Pratam Ityudavo Adyopyetan Banchanti Bhagavat Priya. But because the way that Braj Gopis meet with Krishna, embrace Krishna, dance with Krishna, play with Krishna in the Nikunjas, because the form of it appears to be calm, it appears to be lust. But actually, it is Prem, but it's become famous by the name of calm, because it appears in that way. But really, it is completely selfless. Gopis only live for Krishna's happiness. And truly, Krishna only lives for happiness of Radhika and Braj Gopis. Only they're trying to please each other. And the rasa that comes from this priti gives them joy. It is not their own joy, it is the joy of the object of love. So we're discussing the priti. So now we know that Nikunja Rati Keli Siddhai Yayali Biyoktira Pakshaniya. See, Guru, following Rupa Manjari and others, Lalita Sakhi, they arrange for Radha Krishna's very confidential union in the kunjas of Vrindavan, that is the Rati Keli. And no doubt, this Milan of Radha and Krishna, their amorous pastimes, this is a super excellent meeting. It is immaculate. It is spotless in all ways, because Krishna has gone there to please the senses of Radhika. Radhika herself said, Saundaryamrita Sindhu Bangalalana Chittadri Samplavaka Kana Nandi Sanama Ramya Vachanam Kautindu Sitangika Saurabhyamrita Samplabhava Jagat Piyusha Ramyadara Shri Gopendra Sutasa Karshati Balat Panchindriyanyalime. Radharani, when she looks at Krishna, she said, oh, his beauty is so powerful that even though the waves of the ocean never go over the Himalayas, but my heart and the heart of the gopis are immovable and high like the Himalayan mountains. But the beauty of Krishna comes not in one wave, but in many waves. And all the mountains of our chitta just sink beneath the waves of Krishna's beauty. What can we say about this? That means that, let's say you're at somewhere where there's a pool. You can hear everyone laughing, joking, talking, playing the radio, whatever. But when you dive into the water and you go under the water, then you don't hear anything. It's like another world there. So in the same way, when Radhika sees the beauty of Krishna, that's why she's saying, the mountain of my heart goes under the water of the waves. It's like everything disappears and she's in another world. That's the effect of Krishna's beauty on Radhika. Saundaryamita Singhu Bangalalala. Kana Nandi Sanama Ramya Bachanam. And the words of Krishna, the sound of his words filled with jokes, they give the ananda to her ears. And the touch of Krishna, it is more cooling than 10 million moons. And the fragrance of Krishna, once it enters into the nostril of Radhika, then wherever she goes, she can only smell that fragrance everywhere. And she thinks that his fragrance didn't only spread a short distance, but it's somehow pervaded the whole universe because it won't go away. The spurty of his fragrance won't leave her nose. And she's thinking that everywhere I go, I can experience the fragrance of Krishna. And the taste of Sri Krishna's lips is more than amrita, immortal nectar. So Radhika says that usually the mind, being the chief of the senses, prioritizes one sense over another. So if you're listening to someone, you hear, but if someone distracts you over there and you look, and now your mind prioritizes the eye, even though your ears don't close like your eyes do, but you don't hear. You look away and then, oh, what did he say? I missed it. Yeah, don't do that. So the mind prioritizes one sense over another, and then the others fade into the background. But Radharani is saying that Sri Krishna is so beautiful by his Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, by all of his touch, taste, fragrance, beauty, and sound. He's attracting all of my senses at the same time. And so my mind was like a horse who had 5 riders. 5 people were sitting on the horse and trying to ride the horse in 5 different directions at the same time. And the horse collapsed. So Radharani said, my mind is like that. My mind collapses and I just faint because my senses are pulling it in 5 directions at the same time. This is the beauty of Krishna. So when Radha and Krishna meet together in a Nikunj, and Krishna is coming to please the senses of Radhika, how is this? This is super excellent. It's super excellent. Not only that, but Radhika also pleases all the senses of Sri Krishna. Once Krishna was waiting and saw Radhika coming. Krishna said, Nirdutamrita madhuri paramila kalyani bimbadaro bhaktram pankaja saurabam koharitashla gira angas chandana shitalastanuriyam saundarya sarvasabak twamma sadya mamedam indriyakulam radhe muhur modate. Oh, Radhika, now you are approaching. Then only your sweetness, the sweetness of your form is more fragrant and delicious than nectar. The fragrance of your mouth, indicating the taste of your lips, is more delicious than nectar. Your face is more fragrant than a lotus flower. Your voice, when you speak, it completely destroys the fame of the cooing of cuckoo birds. And the touch of your body is cooler than sandalwood paste. And your beauty seems to be the source of all beauty. All the things in the universe which are beautiful, it seems that they only borrowed a little portion of your beauty, but you are the origin of all beauty. So, O Shrimati Radhika, Tvam asadya mameram indrakulam radhe mohor modate. As you approach me, then I feel my eyes, my ears, my nose, my skin, my tongue, everything, all my senses are overjoyed just by your approach. So from this, we know that how Radhika pleases the senses of Krishna and Krishna pleases the senses of Radhika is super excellent. It is immaculate, perfect, and therefore their loving union is incomparable. Not only that, we can say that Varamrata Swarupa Sri Swaswarupam Manonayet, that the preeti, the love in the heart of Radhika cannot be contained there. And it overflows into her pran. And then it flows all around the body and to all of her senses. And so her body becomes non-different from Mahabhav. You know, what is the spiritual body made of? Sandini. Sandini Shakti, existence Ponsi. And what is Prem made of? Samvit and Ladini. This Samvit and Ladini is in the heart. But for the gopis, only those who come in the stage of Mahabhav, then the Mahabhav takes over all their vrittis. It's a vritti in the mind of everyone who has love, but does not take over the whole mind. Not everything. Not everything. Even the queens of Dwarka, they have love for Krishna, but their mind does not become one fully, totally. There's no vritti which is not saturated with the Ladini Shakti. Only gopis are like that. And even their hearts cannot contain, and it overflows, and then their bodies become one with the Ladini Shakti also. So, Mahabhav Chintamani Radhara Swarup. Mahabhav Swarupat Sri Radha Thakurani. Sarvaguna Kani Krishna Kanta Shiramani. So, when Mahabhav comes, then the actual body of Radhika becomes one with the nature of Prem. One with the nature of love. This is so amazing. So also, the actual union, the embrace of Radha and Krishna. Krishna is not kami, he's not lusty. He doesn't want to taste the senses. He wants to taste the Prem. But in the case of gopis, their love has become, their bodies are now made of Prem. So Krishna's embrace of the Braj gopis is the tasting of the Prem. It is the tasting of the Prem. And that's why the Kanta Bhava Nijanga Diya Karna Sevan, the speciality of Madhurya Rasa, which is not in any other ras, is that the beloveds in the Madhurya Rasa offer all the limbs of their body to Krishna. But this is why. Because only when Mahabhav appears, then the body becomes non-different from the Prem itself. And Krishna is tasting Prem. So we know that the union of Radha Krishna, it is unspeakably super excellent. It is immaculate. It is sacred. It is pure. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has revealed some speciality through Rupa Goswami that you don't find anywhere. What is that? Rupa Goswami has said, Vidagdanam mito lila vilasena yatha sukam na tatha samprayogena sadevam rasika vidu. The meaning is that when the couple who are so rasik and expert in all the arts of love, Vidagdanam mito lila vilas, when they meet together and they begin to play, that means joking with each other. Sometimes Radhika is taking the flower from her ear and hitting Krishna with it. Sometimes they're playing dice. Sometimes they're splashing water. This is all Leela Vilas. That Vidagdanam mito lila vilasena yatha sukam. The kind of happiness which is in this vilas, na tata samprayogena sadevam rasika vidu. Those who are rasik, they know that there's not such happiness in samprayog, the direct union of Radha and Krishna. In other words, they're teasing, they're laughing and joking. Radhika hitting Krishna with the flower. They're throwing colors, playing dice together, arguing over business, finance, and all of these things. There is more happiness in this. Though we have just been speaking for 20 minutes about the super excellence of Radha Krishna's embrace, direct embrace. But in this Leela Vilas, there is such happiness which is not in that embrace, even though it's so exalted for so many reasons. And this is why you can see Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad said, if Radhika is coming on the path and Krishna just tries to block her path, then she has such 7 bhavs all at the same time. Kila Kinchit bhav. Her mouth is smiling, her eyes are crying. She's angry, she's proud, she's fearful, she's joyful. All of these moods. The joy is the main. Just like if you want to make a sherbet, you need water and then you add all the lemon juice and some sugar, some elaichi, some black pepper, a little camphor. But the basic thing is the water. So the basic thing is the joy, the harsh of seeing Krishna. And then this becomes flavorful with the garv, with the pride, with the abhilas, with the desire, the rudita, with the crying, the smita, the bhai, kruda, the anger. All these other emotions mix in and it becomes delicious and Krishna drinks this. Oh. So Krishna's that's the actual bhav in this painting. Mukunda Prabhu is pointing out. Gurudev said that's the bhav of Radhika in this painting. So Krishna's Kaviraj says, Ai bhava yukta dekhi radhasya nayan sangamohite sukapai kotigun. Only when Krishna sees these bhavs manifest, this expression on the face of Srimati Radhika, then Krishna experiences 10 million times more happiness than directly uniting with her in an embrace. These bhavs are like that. Something wonderful. And this is why in the conversations, in the interactions and conversations, then the playing and the teasing, Krishna relishes the most from this, and all the Sakis and all the Manjaris and all the Rasik Vaishnavas who are actually Rasik, they relish this the most of all. And so, because love is not expressed directly, it's hidden. So this is why Radhika, she wants to say to Krishna, yes, 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 but she always says no, no, no. But in Braj, no, no, no means yes, yes, yes. This is the point. Yeah. You can say no in so many, you don't even have to just say no. You can say no indirectly also, in so many ways. It is said, Maunam kavali abilambascha sthana nirvapanam tata brukutyanya mukhi varta nyakara pancha vidasmrita. There are 5 ways of saying no without saying no. Let's say if someone owes you some money and you're going there, it's a bit delicate. You want to go and you just want to bring up, because so much time has gone past and it looks like they may have forgotten it. But maybe they didn't, I don't know. So you go there and you're looking for the right opportunity. You're looking for the right opportunity to bring it up. And so then you bring it up. And so, well, the first way of saying no is the person is just silent. Maunam. Maunam means don't give any answer. So Krishna experiences this also. He approaches the gopis and speaks to them and they all, very good. Krishna's coming, ignore him. And they're all silent. Maunam. Then the next one is Kala Avilamba, to waste time, to pass time. Yes, come back next week, next Monday. I give you, then next Monday you come. He said, oh, just come back next Thursday. So just keep delaying. It's just another way of saying no, but not directly. Sthanam nirvapanam tata. Another way of saying no is, so that person comes to collect their money. And he says, oh, wait a minute, I have an appointment, right? And the person leaves. So to go to another place, this is also another way of saying no. Just like when Krishna, he's approaching the gopis at Giriraj Govardhan. And the gopis look at each other and say, we should leave this place. And gopis start to walk away, but they don't really want to go. So then Giriraj Govardhan, he's always serving Radha and Krishna. So he makes on the sandy road, the stone chips appear. Some sharp stones appear on the road. So then the gopis are leaving, but they're going, ow, really slowly. Like this, because they don't really want to go. And Govardhan is serving them to give them a valid excuse. At least has plausible deniability. And so they're leaving Krishna really slowly, and Govardhan's helping them because really they want to stay. So leaving that place is another way of saying no. Or brukutyanya mukhi varta. Brukuti means if you come to talk to someone, you want to ask them, can you return the money? And you're looking for the right moment to say. But when that person sees you, they get angry with some other person who says, hey, what are you doing? And then you look at it, oh, he's not in a good mood right now. Maybe I should come back later. So brukuti means the frowning with the eyebrows. A person doesn't have to say no, but they're frowning with the eyebrows. You can see they're in a bad mood. Then you don't ask. And then anyamukhi varta. You come to talk to them and you know that they know why you are there. And they say, oh, how was your holiday? Where did you go? What did you do? Who did you go there with? How long did you stay there? How much did it cost? Like this, and they just start talking about something else, talking about something else. So actually, nyakara pancha vidasmrita. These are 5 ways of saying no without saying no. So Braj Gopis are like this. When you see these beautiful pastimes, Radha Krishna come, they meet together, and you're waiting for the pastime to start, but they're just arguing the whole. Sisi Radha Govinda Ju ki jai. Sisi Gaur Nitai ki jai. So, you can see in the poetry of a Goswamis, as a devotee may be reading and think, when is the story, when is there going to be some action, it will go somewhere. Because they're just calling for pages and pages and hundreds of verses. Why? This is all the Leela Vilas. And through their metaphors, they're expressing their love for each other. Gopis are not saying no. They're doing all other things, frowning their eyebrows, leaving the place, sometimes being silent, changing the subject to something else. They're doing all of these things, and all of these things mean no. But that no is just a covered way of saying yes. And Krishna is relishing this. So ras is hidden. So the conclusion is this, that why is this Leela Vilas? Why is this Leela Vilas so relishable? And more relishable even than the direct embrace of Radha and Krishna. And the reason is this, because in this Leela Vilas, there is the Narmuksi Kakala Drigankala Chamatkari Bravo Vibrama. It means that there are joking words. And even though the jokes and the words, they appear to be insults, they appear to be discussions about finance, they appear to be so many refusals. But in the dhwani, in the suggestion of the words, the love is expressed. So through dialogue, the depth of love is unveiled. Through the dialogue, the type of the love is unveiled. And through the dialogue, the intentions of the heart are unveiled in a way that the direct action can never unveil. Understand? In this Leela Vilas and the dialogues, three things. How deep is the love? What type of love? And what are the inner intentions of the heart are unveiled. That is revealed indirectly through dhwani, through the suggestion, in such a way that direct action cannot express the love so thoroughly and in such a detailed way. And that preeti, that pleases, the preeti in the heart of gopis pleases Krishna unlimitedly. And therefore, we can give an example. You know, there's a collection of poems by Rupa Goswami. It's called the Chitra Kavitvani. Have you seen that? Chitra Kavitvani means picture poetry. In picture poetry, the letters, each letter of a word is arranged in a pattern on a page. So, for example, if you see a Chitra Kavita, Chitra Kavya, picture poetry, it looks like one of them is like a wheel, one of them is like a lotus flower, and the letters are in the shape of a lotus flower. Another one is in the shape of a snake who is kind of tied in a knot. Another one is in the shape of a drum because the straps on the drum go this way and that way. Another one is zigzag. And so letters are placed in a pattern and they make a picture. And the art is you pick up the picture and you look and you have to find out where do you start reading. And so you find the place, and if you read it around the pattern in a particular way, a poem will come out. Sometimes they're written in such a way, if you read it from this way to that way, it's one poem. If you read it from that way to that way, it's another poem. So this is called Chitra Kavya. It means picture painting. Chitra means picture, and Tritra also means wonderful. But, however, in this Chitra Kavya, it's very technical and difficult to do. And so there's not so much rasa in the Chitra Kavya. There are names of Radha Krishna, of course, and the names of Radha Krishna are full of rasa. But there's not so much dhwani. That means the power of suggestion in such poems. So the better poems are the dhwani kavya. That means the poetry where the poet doesn't write what he wants to say. He says something else. But what he wants to say is hidden in the suggestion. And the most ras manifests from the dhwani kavya. That which is, there's no picture to see, but it's the nectar is in the suggestion. So in exactly the same way, the union of Radha Krishna that you can see is like the Chitrakavya. And when Radha Krishna are not united, only they're meeting and they're teasing each other, that is like the Dhwani Kavya. And therefore, there is more rasa, more nectar in the Dhwani Kavya than the Chitra Kavya. Or we can say there's more nectar in the Leela Vilas than in the Samprayog. This is the Rupanuga conclusion revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Understand? This is a very, very fine point. This is one of the last points that Rupa Goswami Pada is making in Ujjvala and Nilamani. So now the question comes. You know that Preeti is based on giving joy to the object of love. So there's only one person who can give the greatest joy to Krishna, and that is Radhika. So if someone understands the nature of Preeti, then they'll know that the supreme goal of life is Radha Dasyam. Yes, Radha Dasyam. So this is our discussion for today. What is love?